So the last time I had a Lima railcar, it was running like a dog, but I managed to get it working okay. Now I've got these two models. It's a power car and a trailer, and they're Deutsche Bahn Class 815 DMUs. And I just know these are going to be problems as well. Like here, the previous owner has crudely cut off the coupling at the front here, and this one's flopping around like it doesn't know what it's doing. And the power car doesn't fare much better. It's got this coupling cut off as well. And at this end, we're missing almost everything, so they don't couple up at the moment. We're going to have to try and fix that. We're also missing all the buffers, and the power car seems to want to tip over worse than a big fat bloke. So we've got our work cut out here, haven't we? So this one is the unpowered trailer car. It's numbered 515590-8. Seems to have 31 on the side here for some reason. It's a second class, first class split carriage, but it doesn't have any interior in there. But it does look as though we should be able to rig up some lighting if we wanted to. So it's a usual kind of mix of Lima. The glazing isn't flush fit, however it does have these really cool silver parts on them. The main moulding actually isn't too bad on this one. It's got some nice detail here on the door. This panel here, some transfers on it. The transfers look quite good actually, and the painting isn't too bad. Normally you get really terrible masking on Lima models, but this one is actually not too bad between the roof and the maroon. Nice grills down here as well. This class of locomotive has a pretty simple bogie, and it's in the typical Lima colour of this kind of light grey. Brake gear isn't in line with the wheels, and we do have quite deep flanges on these as well. The previous owner has been busy with the paint on the side of the wheels, and also in this part here at the front where the coupling is. Strange that this one just flops around like this. And it's a bit grubby as well. On the roof we've got a couple of air vents and a couple of fake horns moulded into the piece of plastic. There is a moulding mark on the middle air vent, you can see it there. But overall, I suppose it's not a bad looking model. Let's have a look at the power car. So this one's obviously heavier, but very similar design. It's got a different running number. It's got the 815606-9. It does have the number 65, or maybe it's 63 as an additional transfer. I think that's been fitted by the previous owner and not the factory. It does actually have some pretty good transfer numbering applied just right here, for example. But on this one, there is a bit of fuzziness here between the maroon and the silver on the roof. So they haven't quite cracked the painting. Inside you can see that the motor is attached to this bogie here, and it's driving both these two wheels. And I would assume this is where the pickup happens. There seems to be some electrics inside here, and that looks like a weight that's come loose. And we'll have to do something about the coupling here as well. There's not much we can do about the sawn-off couplings at both ends of these rail cars, so I'm actually thinking of paring this down right back to the bogie there so that this doesn't appear at all. I don't know why that wasn't done before. Maybe they just didn't take the model apart to make the cut. So we've got our work cut out. So the chassis is made of plastic with a metal weight in it, and you can see it's gone a bit rusty because of age. We've got some holes at each end of the chassis. Inside the body shell you can see that it has some clear plastic here where the lights are. So I guess there could be the provision for adding lights into this if you wanted to, or just swapping them out for LEDs. It doesn't look as though the top light is illuminated though, because this plastic here is just part of the window moulding. So I think from here we can cut this piece off and just sand it down flat with the edge of the bogie there. So that's the dummy car finished for now. Unfortunately, I only have one spare buffer, and I need 8 for this in the power car. So I'm actually going to see if I can 3D print these, and maybe that might work. So I'm going to put this to the side and we'll work on the power car now. So this is a power car, and again we have a sawn off coupling at this end, so there's not much we can do with that. And at the other end we've got these little stubby parts here. Now we could fit a little metal hoop onto that, but that's not going to be any use because there's no pin for the little loop to go on and attach to, so these two won't couple up at the moment. So looking under here, I'm actually thinking of 3D printing a NEM pocket to fit into the bogie here, and then I can attach a NEM fitted coupling like this one onto it, which has also got the hook as well, and then we should be good to go. So I'll need to get onto my 3D printer in a minute, but first I'm going to take this apart and see if we can fix what's rattling around inside, and also give it a run and see if it'll actually run okay. So nothing really different with the body shell on this one. It does have these plastic parts for the lights, but having now looked at the chassis, we don't have any lights on this one. So maybe that was an option for this model. The obvious thing that's rattling around in here is this big heavy weight, and it looks as though it's been attempted to be stuck down before. This will need to go into this area here and get secured somehow. And all these little 4 tabs on the chassis have broken off as well, so I think this has been over tightened when it's been screwed back together and these have pinged off. But that does give us a little opportunity here. So while I'm 3D printing the other parts, I think I might actually make a little cover that goes around these little studs here, and it's just thin enough that it just moves the body shell up a little bit, but it also will keep the weight in place as well. So let's put this chassis on a piece of test track and just make sure it runs okay. Ha, of course, might have guessed that. Right, I'm going to have to service the motor as well.
Hours later.
Hey, I'm back, and the Ender 3 has produced some parts for us. So I've got this little strap here to keep the weight in place. I've got this tiny piece here, which hopefully will be okay for holding a coupling. And I tried to make some buffers as well to varying degrees. You can see it went a bit astray down here, but I think these ones might actually be okay. Not great. I mean, you're going to get this pattern on the outside here unless I can sand it down a little bit. At least it gives us something that looks like buffers until maybe we can source the right ones. So the next part is to tidy all these things up and then start assembling. So you might have noticed here there's a couple of resistors on this piece here. So it looks as though maybe this did have lighting in the past, but it's been removed for some reason. The bulb holders would fit into these little slots here. So we don't have lighting in this model, but it's a prime candidate for putting LEDs into it. And maybe one day I'll get around to doing that. But for the time being, let's get on and just get this back together. Well, I'm really happy with that. This actually worked out really well. The power car now no longer tips over when you push it. The weight is secure. And we've even got a coupling now at the front so we can couple these two together and then run them as a pair, which is great as well. The buffers look okay, they're not brilliant, but they came out of the printer not too bad, and I think they do the job okay here. And now that I've given the power car a bit of a service, just some oil and a clean, it seems to run perfectly, which is great as well. There's much more to be done on these models. You could print out an interior and fit them with LEDs as well, and it would really bring it up to the next level. But you might be asking, why bother? They're just old Lima models. Is it really worth the effort? Well, I think these railcars look pretty cool, and just because they're not full of the latest details and all that new tooling that you hear of these days, doesn't mean that these don't have worth in their own right. They could do sterling service on a model railway for years to come, and with this new lease of life, I think there's no reason not to run them. So it's another Lima model which has come back from the dead, and I'm really happy that they've turned out pretty good. But let me know what you think about these conversions in the comments below. I'd love to know your thoughts, and if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps this channel. I'll put the power car on the turntable so you can see all the way around, and in a moment another video will appear. Just click on that and I'll see you there. But that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. See ya!